Hey guys, welcome to my channel. Today I want to talk to you about gimbal lock. It is really annoying and it is a nightmare for animators. Whenever it happens, there is no solution right away, and an animator do not know what to do. And after all that work, which he have done, like maybe hours of work, after that, when gimbal happens, like you cannot do anything. You get stuck because you cannot delete your previous work and you cannot find a solution for gimbal lock. Things are not moving as expected. The rotations are not like moving as expected, and you are getting some crazy movements in arms or legs or whatever. So, there is no solution at that time. It is really, really annoying. You know, the solution people used to come was like put everything on zero on the next frame and then animate and then smooth out that jump transition. But if you do that and it can happen again and again you will do so, it's really annoying. So today let's understand and let's find out some solutions that how what steps you can take so that you do not run into gimbal lock, and it is possible, yes. So what that I'm gonna tell you guys. First, let's understand what gimbal lock is. Um, what is gimbal lock? Gimbal lock is a phenomenon that occurs when using polar rotations, specifically when two rotation axes become aligned, when they both become on the same alignment, causing a loss of one or more degrees of freedom in rotation. So yeah, let's see how it looks, how the two axes align. Uh, it's like this. Okay. First, I will just show you what happens. Let's see in a gimbal mode, and then it is already. Where is it? Yeah. So if I rotate it in y-axis, you can see better now. If I rotate this in y-axis, let's see what's gonna happen. At one point, the x-axis and z-axis gonna get aligned with each other. They are aligned at this point, like this. This is gimbal lock. The two axes are locked. Now, if I want to rotate this object in this way, I cannot do that. There is no way I can do this. Why it happens? Because unlike real world, like in real world, we can rotate an object any way we want. But in 3D softwares, um, that Euler rotations, 3D programs depend on Euler rotations. Why they do it? It's a mathematical, it's like calculative thing, it's a mathematics. I don't know, and I don't care. So animators don't care about that. What is the science and algebra and mathematics behind this? But 3D program use this, um, which is actually using one rotation axis at a time, one axis at a time. It cannot progress, it cannot evaluate the three axes at one time. So it has to do one at a time. So in order to achieve that, there are procedural axes. You know, it has to be the axis has to be in a sequence in order to rotate something. It cannot be all three at once. So let me show you what I mean by that. As we saw, when we rotated y-axis, it influenced x-axis but did not influence z-axis. If you can see what actually happening is the y-axis is influencing the x-axis. Now, if I want to rotate x-axis, it is not influencing either of axis, like neither y or z. It is totally independent of all these two, and nobody is getting influenced by its rotation. Now, what happens if I rotate the z-axis? It is influencing both of the axes, x and y, both. So in 3D programs, it works like this, in sequence. And if I go to the attribute editor, and if I select the first tab, it will show me the rotation order. This is we call rotation order, because 3D programs evaluate the rotations procedurally, like in a sequence. So here the sequence is X, Y, and Z. Let's understand. Right now our sequence is this, X, Y, and Z. So now the 3D programs, how it uh, evaluates is that what is on the left side, it is the most minor child. The left character, the first character, is the child. This one. This is the child of a parent which is Y, or which is this character in the middle. Whatever the character is, in the middle there is parent. So the parent influences the child, or the child getting influenced by the parent, which is influenced by this character, which I call grandparent. You know, let's call it grandparent. So the character on the left side is a child, the most junior, and the character on the right side is the most senior, the grandparent. So the grandparent can influence both of these. Parent can influence the child, and child cannot influence any of these. So let's see in Maya. So here, the if you see, the axes are x, y, z, which means the x is a child. Nobody else is influencing because of that. Y is a parent of x. That's why when we are rotating y, it's affecting the x. And then z is a grandparent, it's affecting both. I think it's clear by now. Now you can change any other rotation order, maybe z, y, x. So if it is written like this, z, y, and x, which means z is a child, y is a middle parent, and then x is a grandparent. Now we will see this example in Maya. Z, Y, X. Z, Y, X. I've selected the rotation order Z, Y, X, which means it should work like that. If I rotate the Z, it should not affect any of these. Unlike the previous one where Z was grandparent, it was influencing all the two axes, right? And Y is still in the center. So it is influencing the child, which is Z. And now here, as we saw, the X is a grandparent. When I will rotate X, it's going to rotate all of the X's with it. So how gimbal lock happens? How? It happens because of the middle character. And I call this problem one. You can call the middle parent problem. So the child is normal, the grandparent is normal, but the parent, which is in the middle, creates a problem and creates gimbal lock. Let's see one more time. Why? So we can see the y-axis in the middle, z, y, x. So y in the middle, and I'm saying the middle character is a problem. Why is it? Because when we will rotate the y, it's gonna align the two other axes. Now, if I want to rotate it this way, there's no option I can do. There's nothing I can do. Let's say we have different thing. Here, this time y is a child, x is a middle parent, the problem one, and z is a grandparent. Y, x, z. Now we will see what's going to happen. When I rotate y, it should not affect any of this. Yeah, because y is the smallest child. And x is a problem parent, the middle parent. X is a problem one because when I'm rotating x, these two axes are getting aligned. Now, if I want to rotate this object in this axis, I cannot. I can't. There's no way. So X is a problem. And Z again is a grandparent. So when I am rotating Z, all the two axes are coming with it. And now I can do this and do this. So if I rotate Z, there's no problem. I think it's clear by now. So let's see how we can use this knowledge to avoid gimbal lock. For that, first you have to analyze that what is your animation and what is the main rotation of your animation. You have to analyze this before you started working. For example, uh, let's say this box, and let's say let's have a simple, sorry, yeah, we have this box, and I want to animate this first like this and then stand it. Okay, but first I will tell you there's 2 3 modes of rotation. One is just a display thing. One is gimbal, one is the object mode. For now, yeah, let's see there's two. Okay, the gimbal one and the object one. Object one is there for to make the life easier for us. It's a easier gimbal, easy to animate, easy to work on. But the gimbal one is the original axes which 3D program understands, you know, and it's a real depiction of your axis. But the object one is like free form. I will show you. So now we know our rotation order is XYZ, which means if I rotate the Y, it's going to create problem. But let's see if I do this with the object mode. This is how I do it. I'm pressing E and then left click, and I can select the options. E, left click, and then I can select the options. I will select object mode because this is the most convenient, you know, Gimzo mode, display mode. Now let's animate and see. So this is our object, and I want it to rotate like this, and then I want to make it stand. Now, what I expect is just it will rotate and then stand up. But now what's gonna happen? Boom! Whoa! This strange. Why it's not just because the object mode is showing me that yeah I have this axis which I applied which I used to make him stand. Yeah, there was an axis here. Let's go to the gimbal mode and see. Oh, the reality is different. So in a way that the software is lying to you. You know, it's not telling you the complete picture. So actually, so yeah, that's what the problem is because there was no axis to making him stand. There was no axis. We used the fake axis of the object mode, but in reality there was no axis because we used Y, and Y is a problematic character because it was in the middle. So we will go to the second, and then when we rotate it like this, it created a gimbal lock, and then when we stand up, so obviously it's and see now the y-axis is like this. Y-axis is vertical right now, which is strange because right now it was like this. And if you can see from here to here, there should be only one axis. When I became stand, there should be only one axis. But no, if you see the rotation, all three are animated. All three is being animated. You can see the graph here as well. Yeah. From here to here. From here to here, there should be only one axis. Because the ding, 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 ding. There should be only one axis. But if we look at the graph editor, all three axes and these two are working together. So strange. See? If you go in the middle, like see, there's no axis, nothing. We don't know where we are going, where we are coming from. So what is the solution? Solution is before animating this, what we can do, as we know beforehand that okay, we want to animate first like this, and then we want to stand like this. Okay. That means the Y should not be a problematic axis. Should not be. And then I guess we will use Z at the end to make him stand. What we can do, so before animating, we already have the idea that okay, this is we can plan it before animating it. We can plan it beforehand. Now, what I will do is, what I want is, um, why should be either child or it should be grandparent? I would say it should be grandparent because my main rotation is Y. Because it's almost like a 180-degree rotation. So I will choose an option which has the y-axis as a grandparent, something like this, zxy or xzy. But as we know, we do not put z in the problem. X is this, so we do not want to move it. So we can put x as a problem character, as a problem parent, which is this. Now the x is in the center, which is the problem. So we don't want to animate x, so we don't care. We will just put x in the problem parent. And then y is the grandparent because most of our action is y. So we select it as a grandparent and then z is a child. Now we will see what's going to happen. Let me delete these. Now if I will rotate y, so all the x is rotated with it. And you can see only y-axis is animated. Only one axis is animated. And then if I want to make it stand, I can use the z-axis. And then see, only the z-axis is animated. Rest are in their own place. Now if I will play this, boom, boom, no problem. Just because I understand my motion and I understand what is the priority movement of my motion, I understood that, and then according to that, I set my rotation order, and then after that, it made my life easier. And then you do not even have to use the gimbal mode. I can use the object mode, convenient, and then with my just how can I say it? Just roughly or just as an idea, I will do this, and oh, this is wrong, so I can adjust it. Yeah, and then another key. I will freely use it. That's the main reason of the object mode, that it has to be used freely. So I'm just grabbing it here, freely using it, and then making him stand. And I will play. It's fine. See how randomly I moved it. How randomly I rotated it without care. But still, it's working fine because I have selected my rotation order according to my motion. My biggest motion was y-axis, so I put the y in the grandparent. My the least motion was z, this one, just 90. I put this as a child so that it won't disturb any other axis. If I see all these keys, my even in the gimbal is fine. There is no gimbal lock in either of the keys. And I see animators, they got so afraid of gimbal lock that they start animating sorry, they start animating like this, like only selecting the axis and this, like this, and like this. And even in the object mode, they they do and they preach as well. Many teachers they preach that you should always grab the axis and then animate like this, grab the axis and do this so that it only affect the one axis. For example, if I make it 0, so if just rotate this so that it only affect the x, don't do anything else, only this. Now it's affecting everything. So yeah, it's gonna affect everything anyhow. So this doesn't make sense. And what's the point of this being freely animated? It gives you, I don't know how to say this, it gives you a free option of free rotating. So as an animator, we have to work like as if we are, playing with a toy, or playing with an object. So we are moving, we should not be struggling. We should be able to move or rotate freely, like in the real life. Again, I will show you the free form way of, I won't use like this, the precise way. I won't use that way. I will just animate freely. I will just grab it from here, this one. Then, oh, this is, I have to adjust it. I will randomly adjust it. And then the next key, I will just grab from here. This, oh, it's very slant. Let me make it upright. See how randomly I did it, right? But when I will play this, it's very clean and exactly what I wanted. So I hope this gives you a clear idea of how rotation order works. Now, let's see an example on a rig. So this is my character Dabu. I made it long ago. So let's see how we can apply this in real example with the rig. As we can see, there's a orientation, certain orientation of his hand, his arm, and when we see it is XYZ, right? Okay, which means the y-axis will be the problem because it's in the center. We will check this out, and yes, if we rotate the y, it's gonna align the two axes, which is gonna create gimbal lock. And now what I wanted to do is, let's say I want to animate it like a cricket bowler bowling, a player bowling. So, which means his hand should be like this and then rotate all the way and he bowls. He's going to do this and then down. Since he's throwing the ball up, back again. Okay, let's see how it works. Whoa, 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 whoa. It's going all the way here and there. See, so this is we call gimbal lock here, especially in this point. This is gimbal lock. See, These two axes are almost on the same alignment, almost, which is creating the gimbal lock because there is no axis along this way. Okay, but if we see the only the keys, there's nothing wrong. There was nothing wrong. Everything was in alignment. Okay. Now, uh, let's see. What I can say is, let's say the x rotation is the main rotation. Let's consider this because we want to rotate in this orientation, in this axis like this. So let's say we want the x to be the grandparent. So the x will be, we have one option here, but here the y will be, the z will be problematic, which we do not want. So the only option is zyx, because we don't care about this motion much. We care about this one. So let's do this and go to the object mode again, because we want to animate conveniently rather than, very precisely and taking so much stress of axis. We don't want to think about axis. Just want to think about our motion. This again, again, this again. Uh, Sometimes I use the axis because it's easier. Sometimes. Okay, this and then back this. Now we will see what happens. Oh, much better. I think. And you see how randomly I did. Even now I can do this. Yeah. And it was showing a little problem because, yeah. Now you can see I'm just randomly picking and randomly adjusting the position. Still, there's no issue in the rotation because we understood the axis of rotation, and then according to that we set our rotation order, and then when we independently animated without any fear of axis and everything, we really, how can I say, like, really randomly and very freely, we just picked it, and as if it's like a toy in the real world, we just picked it and we just rotated it without any tension, without any worries, and it's giving us a very smooth result. There's no gimbal lock in this. So see how the life is much easier as opposed to the previous one. Another thing which I want to mention is the Euler filter, which is in the graph editor. Let's say if our character is moving and then he spins like that. Sometimes we do mistakes and our axis does this kind of things, which means there's a pop in the y-axis. Yes. What we can do, we can run Euler filter, this one, and boom, it's gonna fix. It will fix, and it is smart enough to keep the little animation on y-axis. It won't smooth everything. So sometimes it works with gimbal lock, sometimes it doesn't. So you have to plan ahead, like I've said before. It happens especially in the cases where the rotation rotate beyond 360 degrees, and which creates problem. Like for example, this the whole turn, and let's say it has the whole turn in between, and you don't want it, so you can run Euler filter, and boom, again. This is Euler filter and its use, but it's not as effective as the procedure I told you. Okay, now I wanna talk about the some sort of gimbal lock problem in the translation. So let's talk about it. Just like rotation, translation also have two modes. If I press W and then left click, so it's gonna give me some options. One is object, one is world, and one is live object axis. What are these? The world is, I will explain later, it's not important right now. Let's take these two, object and then live object axis. What is the difference? The difference is live object axis is the real axis which Maya has, which Maya understands, which Maya process. If you can see this, so the live axis is exactly the same as Maya understand. This is the Maya axis. Now watch what happens if I rotate my character. If I rotate the character, now look what happens. It stays the same because it's the axis of Maya. It stays the same. But if I go to the object, it's going to show us according to the object where the object is facing. It is showing us that okay, Z should be here. It is the it's still um, it is still correct, but it is according to the object orientation. Again, if I will go to the live object, boom, it's again showing us what Maya, what are the axes in the eyes of Maya, you know, in the eyes of the program, what are the real axes? It is showing you these axes. So both have their own advantages and disadvantages. Let me show you. Let's say my object is like this, and then let's put a key, and then if I move in Z direction in live axis, I'm in live axis and I'm moving in Z direction, you can see it only animates the Z axis. Boom. It only influencing the Z axis. Okay. If I move here, it only influences the X axis. Even if you can see in the channel box, only X axis is influencing. Only Z axis is influencing. And if you go into object mode, and it is showing you the wrong image, but it's correct with the object orientation, but not as the software orientation, the main orientation. So what do I mean by that? If I will again, I will animate in the Z axis, you can see now both axes are getting influenced. This is some kind of a lie, you know, because in like visually you are animating in just one direction, but actually it is influencing two axes, which is gonna create a lot of problems. Okay, let's see the real world problem. What happens? what happens is that when, let's say, we want our character to move in this direction, what we will do, why it is, what we will do is, like, naturally, we will make him like this, make him like this, and then make him move in this direction. Good. But if you see in the graph editor, or if you see in the channel box, it is influencing two axes, X and Z, not just Z. Why? Because the main, this is the parent control, right? So everything what happens below it, so this root control is below the main controller. So whatever happens below this controller, gonna follow his uh, his orientation axis. So right now, even if we rotated the root, and this is the object axis, if we go to the live axis, boom, it is still following the programs, or you can say the main controller's axis. This, so it is following the main control axis. It follows the main control axis all the time, even in the live axis mode. I will explain what I mean by that. So, you know, right now it looks fine, nothing wrong. What's wrong in that is going. But imagine if I put ease in and maybe ease out. I mean, then right now it's fine, nothing wrong, nothing seems to be wrong. But imagine if you are working in, this is very simple demonstration, but if you imagine if you are working on a body mechanic shot in a very complex animation where you have a lot of ease in and eases out. So if I uh, just move a little bit, like I just accidentally or deliberately, I just uh, is just get off balance or out of alignment, my my ease in and ease outs get out of alignment, then see what's gonna happen. Whoa, zigzag. Whoa, it's not straight anymore. Oh, it creates a lot of problem when you animate, and when it happens in the middle of your animation, then you have to delete and do it again. And no matter what you do, no matter what you do, you cannot just uh, fix it, because one placement is depending upon two axes. One is like this. We both are not matching the roots axis. Both are not matching. Because your motion is divided into two curves, two axes, and you have to take care of it. Mhm. Take care of both at the same time in order to, fix or polish. Especially when you're polishing, it's create a mess and it's so painful. So painful to make it smooth and polished. Rather, what you can do is since it's following the main controller, and again, let's say our character is going to move like this, what we can do is set your main controller in this direction so that its object mode, the Z is something like this. It doesn't matter even if the live axis is like this, it doesn't matter. You just move the main controller in the direction where you want him to walk. Now, if you go to the root controller now, this time, if we look at the live axis, oh, it remains the same. Why? Because of the main control object axis. It's like something inside the group, So wherever the orientation axis of your group, so the child gonna follow that. So it's the same like that. And I don't know how simply I can explain this. So this is a very simple explanation. So just remember wherever you want to move your character, what is the same with the rotation gimbal lock. Just try to figure out what is your main motion and then set your setting according to that. So here we figure out that okay, my character is gonna move in this direction. So what I did, I set the main controller orientation like this, and then when I will move him forward, see, it only affects the z-axis. How magical is that? How amazing! And now even if I have ease in and ease out, I just have to worry about one curve, and it's straight because it's just affecting one curve. You can see in the and no matter how I change the ease in ease out, how harshly I change it, it remains the same. No left and right, nothing. Now let's say you're gonna move in some other direction. Just zero it out. Um, let's say I wanna move him in this direction. No problem. We will set the main controller in this direction and then move him. No problem. Only just one axis. We have to deal with one axis. And if we want him to move sideways, then I think we don't have to do anything because our main control is already aligned with the sideways. So if I select this and move him like this, so see only x-axis is in place. So like this, wherever I will rotate it, it's gonna animate according to that direction, according to his. If I do this and then See, sideways. But in the front view, it's going like this because the main controller orientation is like this. If I do this, so it's gonna change its movement. So we can use the main controller to guide the motion of its child constraint or controls. So just in short, just remember wherever you want your character to move, set the orientation of your main controller according to that. So okay, I think this video is helpful. It will be helpful for you guys to just relieve you from the stress of gimbal log and this translation gimbal log. So I hope it's gonna help, and keep me updated. Comment, like, and share so that I know how it is going, and let me know in the comments how it helped you guys. And let's see you in the next lesson. Okay, bye bye. Take care.